What does hard actually look like? As a deputy principal, we are dealing with some of the most challenging behaviors, some of the most challenging situations in a school context. And one of the strategies and frameworks that I've used over the years is to deal with first things first, meaning you deal with the hardest thing first. So for example, yesterday I arrived to work and I got a message from the front office basically saying a parent had left a very abusive and threatening voicemail on the system overnight. And they described the situation and they described what was said. So it was, yes, pretty abrasive. So one of the frameworks that I use to deal with this, because you can't ignore something like that when it comes and presents to you. You got to deal with the hard things first and first things first. So the framework is really, really simple. It is to seek first, understand before being understood. What is the thing that has got this person so annoyed, so angry that they are making threats? And really, fundamentally, what that situation comes down to is parents are protective. If their child seems like they have been affected in a negative way, and I've found this more the case in lower SES areas, meaning lower socioeconomic areas as well, that the parent will become super hostile super quickly because they feel like their child has been affected negatively in some way. Now, what the perspective comes down to is all they are doing is they're showing their form of love for their kid. They're showing that they actually really care about their kid. And that's the only way that they understand how to express that emotion is through anger. So how do we deal with something like that? Well, it's pretty straightforward. You actually just call them. You have to address it front on. And the framework that I use when I'm calling someone like that is you call out the behavior straight away. I understand you're upset. Let me know from your perspective what's going on. Get as much information as you can. The idea of the role that you're in is to actually work alongside them, to actually figure out what's the problem and how can we address it together. And 99% of the time, these people, these parents, these people are really aggressive, really angry. And because they're defending their child, as soon as they figure out that you are trying to understand the situation and trying to figure out how we can help, they calm down really, really quickly. And they actually become some of the strongest allies you can have in a school context. Because they'll explode. They go really full tilt straight away. However, they calm down. So the framework is, as I said, deal with it first things first. Don't put it off. Call them, address it front on, and actually call out the behavior. Understand you're upset. Tell me what's going on in your situation. Let's find a solution together. And as I said, that works a treat. So it comes down to what does hard really look like? Well, it depends on the circumstance and depends on the context. The most challenging thing with this kind of role is it sometimes is like eating glass. You don't know when it's actually going to get better, but you just have to keep solving unsolvable problems and solving the problems you don't even know how to solve yet by just showing up and putting first things first. And if you always come from the lens of the first thing and the priority is from a context of schooling is the student, then a lot of these interactions, a lot of these challenges are overcome a lot easier because you can actually work from a collaborative frame rather than a confrontational one. So that's just top of mind because I'm just listening to a podcast that is talking about entrepreneurship and what does hard actually look like in that space. And you don't know what you don't know. And it's the same in education. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know how to deal with the challenging behavior. You don't know how to deal with a threat. You don't know how to deal with disruption in your classroom. You don't know how to create an assignment. There's all these things you don't know until you know. And they come through experience. The more you do them, the better you get at them and the easier things become. So it's one of those lessons that we can try to learn everything via courses, via bookwork, via study, but unless we physically do the actual activity and have the experience, then it's a lot more challenging to actually have confidence in your own ability that, I've dealt with this before. So for me now, it's second nature just pick up phone, have a conversation, call them in, have a meeting. There's all these different things that you can do. But when we first started, you get butterflies in the gut. What am I going to say? How am I going to deal with this? Am I going to get threatened? Am I going to get abused? What is the consequences? You think about all the worst case scenarios. And sometimes that can stop us from actually taking action. But the thing that I found that works the most and the best is to literally just confront the problem. There's a phrase by Marcus Aurelius that is, the obstacle is the way. The only way is through the obstacle. And if you're not sure who he is, he's a Roman emperor from years and years ago who was into philosophy. And it's so true today. So that is where I'm going to leave it. I'm about to jump into work and then travel to New Zealand tomorrow. Super excited to go hiking. I will catch you in the next one. Remember, effort equals results.